Hello, and welcome back to the Going Off Track podcast. I'm Catherine, that's Emily, and we are finally at the final race before the F1 summer break.
Finally. I just will never understand how we get through 7 months and then it's the summer break. It doesn't split up the season. And I still feel like we have so many races to come crammed into the last 4 months.
Yeah, this is it. They really they throw the Formula One drivers into this absolute massive gauntlet going into the back half of the year. Obviously, we are already in the second half of the summer break or of the season because it's not split down the middle evenly. But yeah, this is going to be a really interesting latter half of the season once we get past this weekend's race.
Because we have 11 races left, this one, and so we have 10 after the summer break. So numbers wise it makes sense. But I feel like the back half of the season is just crammed. Is that just me? No, it's not.
No, it's not just you. It's definitely crammed, and it's definitely we got some really big heavy hitting triple headers, especially the final one of Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. So it's a lot for anyone. So credit to these drivers and the teams surrounding them for surviving the back half of the year after the summer shutdown.
I do think though that this whole regionalization thing has helped with the schedule. Because having 3 races back to back to back is hard, but in these European stints, going from Spa to Hungary, that's not too bad.
Yeah, you're basically still at home. Like these drivers probably, especially the ones who all live in Monaco, all probably did get a night at home before
Right.
going to before leaving for Hungary. So it's really you're right. It's definitely helped. It's definitely good for the sport. But speaking of this regionalization and speaking of next year's calendar, the calendar for 2026 has been released, but the Turkish Grand Prix has come in and basically said that if any track is forced to cancel, which we know is not completely out of the realm of possibility, if you look at Imola 2 years ago, that Imola race was canceled, then Turkey's like, we are here and we are ready to join the calendar in 2026 if you need us. So just call us.
Hey Ferrari, I'm available. I can drive if you want me to. It just seems weird that they're like, hey. It's like, do you know something we don't know, Turkey? What's going on?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, they're every track that isn't currently on the calendar is so beyond ready to be on the calendar, and they're like, hey, we want it. Turkey last hosted in 2020 and 2021. They were kind of a stopgap calendar filler during COVID, especially when we had a number of countries, China as being one of them, that could not accept people into the country. So Turkey came in and they were able to host for 2 years, and that's the last time we've seen them. But they could also be using this to leverage slipping into the spot that Zandvoort is going to leave after the 2026 season.
I could also see them being a filler for 2028 when Spa does not have a spot on the calendar.
Right. So we are moving to what I had predicted a year ago.
Well, it's not official. It's unofficial.
Yeah, the rotational where some and Spa should not be one of the rotational tracks, but if it has to be, whatever. And we will see. I believe that we will see at some point where we will have a number of races in, say, let's say Asia, where 1 year it's going to be Japan, China, Malaysia, and another year it's going to be South Korea, Thailand, China, something like that. And so we'll see that regionally throughout Europe. We'll see that throughout Oceania. We'll see that maybe in the United States if they, if Vegas kicks them out, which the casinos might kick Vegas out first, because they don't love the strip being shut down for a week / 4 months.
Way, they don't?
No.
What?
It costs them a lot of money.
Oh no, what if we lose Miami?
Oh no, tragic. It will always be our first Formula One race, but we will live without it being on the calendar.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I've loved this idea since we kind of started talking about it, year and a half ago. But I don't want to see Spa. I know I can't change it because they don't have a contract for 2028. And again, maybe it's a weird finicky thing where they're planning construction or something and they can't commit to it. That's very possible, but who knows? I like the rotation idea. Also, speaking of construction, the Hungaroring, which is where the Hungarian GP is, was literally a sandbox or a construction zone, if you will,
Right?
like a month ago. I
Yeah.
was like, I think I messaged you and I was like, are we even gonna have a Hungarian Grand Prix? Like, how are they gonna
Yeah.
finish in time?
Yeah, it's actually going to be really interesting because they have done a serious amount of construction between the last year after the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2024 and now. They've done a massive overhaul over the entire facility. So it's going to be really fun to see what it's going, like all the shiny new toys and everything that's going to look like. It's going to be a really exciting Grand Prix, especially if you're there in person. And I really, I'm excited to see how this is going to impact the track itself. The track itself is not going to change that much, but still, they're gonna they've resurfaced, I believe, portions of the track, especially
they like dug
near
up the track.
they in certain portions, yeah, and that will have an impact on this race, especially with the weather considerations we're going to have.
Yeah. So, okay, before we talk weather, I want to talk layout. So the track layout has not changed like materially drastically.
Right.
Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah. So they basically are rebuilding the main grandstands, the paddock buildings, the main straight, and that is a significant portion of this track area. So we're going to see, a lot of the rest of the track that wasn't impacted will be the same track, the same surface, because I don't believe they are going to have resurfaced the entirety of the track, but we will have a new portion at the start finish straight, which, especially if we have something like weather, which we might have this weekend, which I know we keep, foreshadowing, is going to have an impact. Just the different ways of what the track is going to feel like will impact these cars, especially during like a crossover period before, teams move on from slicks and onto inters or the other way around.
Yeah. I don't want weather, man. I just want it to be beautiful and sunny.
I just want weather that has a positive impact. Obviously, weather at Spa did not have a positive impact. I just want weather to have a positive impact.
Agreed.
So we'll
Agreed.
see.
And it's another week of Emily not factoring wind weather to her predictions. So,
right.
Go team.
Yes. And we don't really have all that much to talk about because we just raced 5 minutes ago and nobody has, done anything in the hour that I was in doing water duty while wearing leggings because I don't do beach like a normal person, as one does. So we are going to dive into our predictions and hopefully we will do better this week to close out the, pre-summer break part of the season.
Well, Catherine, I checked the calendar and I did confirm it is not a sprint weekend. So
I also checked that it's not a sprint race.
Racing for the Grand Prix. Oh my god, I still can't believe we did that, but that's where we are in life right now. All right, so Catherine and I make predictions for every single race and some sprints depending how we're feeling. But we pick pole, podium, and P10. These are actually much harder to pick than you would think they are. I implore you all to try to do it with us. So with that being said, Catherine, who is getting pole for you at Hungary?
Okay, so I'm going against the grain for myself a little bit, but I actually picked Lando for once. So we'll see how this goes.
How funny, because I picked Oscar this week.
Once again, we are splitting the difference between the McLarens, and we will see how this turns out for us.
Yes. Okay, with that said, who is your podium?
I mean, I still have Oscar winning the race. And that probably also means that it is wrong. I am going with a podium that is basic. It is just our podium from Spa. So I'm going Oscar, Lando, Charles.
Yep. I have the same thing. Go team. I'm caving. I'm caving.
Also,
but this is the race where it's like going to be George Russell or someone else. It's going to
be something stupid. But I also want to point out before we keep going in our predictions that last year the Hungary race was controversial because of the McLarens. In case you didn't remember or you missed it, check out our reaction to last year's race above. But in short, Oscar was leading the race. McLaren pit Lando in a way that favored Lando over Oscar, and then Lando had to be told repeatedly to give Oscar the place back because because McLaren knew that they screwed up, and Oscar was handed the race win in a very awkward, uncomfortable fashion that has really foreshadowed any incidents between the McLaren drivers that we have seen or will continue to see as the drivers' championship battle heats up.
Yeah, that was like the tipping point of all of this. That was the starting.
It was the beginning of the like, oh, McLaren really wants Lando to win this championship over Oscar, and they're like really forgetting themselves in the process. Yeah. The other thing about it is, I think I said this in the episode, is that McLaren is in this position where they don't actually realize that they are in this position of preparing to win a championship. Obviously, they won the Constructors' Championship that year, but like they haven't been in this position for a while. So that was a kind of a moment where they're like, oh, we need to be good at this here, and we need to take better charge. This is kind of awkward for us.
Yeah. Ugh. Never forget.
It was a whole thing.
Yeah. So I have the same one there. And then last but not least, we have P10. So Catherine and I pick P10 because it's the last place on the grid where you get a point. However, we give ourselves 3 because it's very hard to pick this.
It is.
So I actually am cheating this week on my P10, and I don't care. I make the rules here. I just said steak. So between Gabby and Nico, it's going to be one of them, and I chose steak.
Okay, so I chose Nico Hulkenberg. So I'm gonna give this to you, mostly because I'm also very tired because I've been running a summer camp for the last 2 months. So I'm okay with you picking either steak driver. I'm gonna go with Hulk. Hopefully Hulk will have a better weekend than he did in Spa, because that was not great.
I was like between Gabby and him, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make a new rule, and we can just pick a whole team if we want to.
Yeah. That said, if you submit your predictions to us to be read in our reaction episode, you should do that. Send them in to us on Instagram at going.off.track. And if you do when you do send in your picks, also send why you're picking who you're picking, because we're just curious about your reasoning as well. So send us all that. We might pick you, and that will be a fun thing that you can do with us.
Okay, biggest surprise, and oops, these are just for fun. So my surprise is that Carlos actually gets points this weekend.
Ooh, we love this.
We do. How about you, Kat? What's your big surprise?
I picked, what did I pick? I picked that Lewis is going to have a strong weekend all weekend. I just think that stop the presses.
Kat wants Lewis to do good and have a strong weekend.
I didn't say want to. I just said that he's going to, perhaps, and perhaps he's going to take what he learned from the Ferrari at Spa and, continue to do well and maybe be up there with his teammate. Is it something I want? No, because I want Max Verstappen. I want Max Verstappen to win every single race that he competes in, but we all can't have everything because that's not how life works.
I'm done.
It's not 2023 anymore.
I love it. All right, what's your oops?
My oops of the weekend, I don't think any oops of the weekend can rival Aston Martin bringing the complete and total wrong spec of floor when they brought the Imola spec to Spa. But at the same time, my dumb of the weekend for this coming weekend is going to be Haas. They, coming off of a relatively strong couple of races, they really misread things at Spa, especially the Grand Prix versus the Sprint where they had double points. And I just have a feeling, I'm getting the vibe that Haas is not going to close out the first half of the season particularly well this weekend.
It's fair. I believe that.
Yeah.
I just said the track in general. So with new construction and resurfacing, doesn't always go well. I don't know how many support races are this weekend because I didn't look. But generally, if there's not a ton of support races, the track can tend to not go super great for F1 race, a la, what was it, Abu Dhabi last year?
Mm-hmm.
When they I just think that the track is potentially going to lend to some issues this weekend.
So I don't want to burst your bubble, but we will have F3 and F2 this weekend. But
So
at the
there's a
same
lot of
time,
support races.
well, but here's the thing. There are going to be support races. We'll also have Porsche Super Cup. But if it does rain, and there's a decent chance of rain both Saturday and Sunday, that will clean off any rubber that is laid down by the support races. And then we will still have the same possible prediction you have of this new track causing some problems for the drivers.
Well, we will see. I'm excited. Honestly, I'm excited for the summer break. I kind of want to get some contract news. I feel like maybe we reverted
need
back
that.
to old times. Love to see it. With that said, coming up for the pod, we will have our recap episode out next week. When TBD, Catherine and I have some big things going on this weekend. And
I'm closing out camp.
Catherine's closing out camp. I have a day job. So we will potentially get that out. We'll get that out early-ish, mid next week-ish.
At some point, you will see our reaction.
And over the summer break, when things happen, we will do recaps of the summer break, of course, for all of the news coming out and give you all of our opinions that you obviously need and want.
Yep.
But yeah, that is it for Hungry. I think this is the shortest podcast episode we've ever done in our lives.
Probably.
Under 20 minutes. Go team. That's Hungry. Thanks for going off track with us, guys.